and stopped him. Ahmad Hussein didn't say anything, and he made room for himself. I got up and said, I wouldn't pour dice with beggars. But actually, I lost most of my money and didn't have more money. I lost 3 qiran out of 4 qiran. Mahmoud, who was unlucky, said that the dice game was enough. Let's play coin ball. Qasim told me, Latif, please do not break up the competition with these words, and tell everyone who would pour. Then one blind-eyed guy said, pour it on your own. We're going to play a coin ball. Zivar's son pointed to Qasim and said, playing dice with him is pointless. He always brings 5 or 6. Then said, let's play toss. Ahmad Hussein said, I agree. But Mahmoud said, no, coin ball. The street was almost empty. Some shops were closed before us, each dropping 1 qiran coin from the sidewalk to the wall. The coins were still beside the wall when Ahmad Hussein yelled, cap! A cap with a baton in his hand was 2 or 3 steps away. Ahmad Hussein and I and the one-eyed blind guy got flee away. Mahmoud and Zivar's son came behind us. Qasim wanted to take the money on the sidewalk. Still suddenly, Cap arrived. Qasim shouted when Cap hit him with his baton and he flees away. He yelled at us, gambling hooligans, don't you have a home or life? Don't you have parents? Then he bent down, took the coins and walked off. When I crossed the intersection, I found myself alone, and the restaurant on the other side of the street was closed, which meant I was late. Whenever the restaurant guard pulled the iron lid down in half, it was the time I had to get back to my father. I went through the streets and crossroads and told myself that, now my father is sleeping, I wish he'd waited for me. Then I told myself, what about the toy shop? It is certainly closed now, and no one is going to shopping for toys at this time of night. Now they stuck Camel in the shop and closed the shop store and they have gone. I wish I could talk to my camel. I hope he remembers our promise, which we had last night. What if he doesn't come to me? But no, Camel indeed comes for me. He said that tomorrow night I'd go and we will tour the Tehran. Riding a camel is so exciting. But suddenly the sound of the car's brakes and I found myself thrown into the air so that I thought it was over. When I fell, I realized a ride hit me in the middle of the street. Still, I felt I was fine, and I was rubbing my wrists. The driver took her head out of the car and yelled, "Get lost from the front of the car, you retarded!" Then I suddenly came into my own. An older woman was sitting behind the steering wheel with a big dog on her side. The dog was looking outside. The color of the dog's neck was shining. All of a sudden, I thought that if I didn't do anything right now, for example, if I didn't break the windshield, I'd be so angry, and I'd never been able to forgive myself. The old woman shouted again once or twice and said, "Are you deaf? Get out of my way! Get lost now!" 1 or 2 other cars came and passed us. The old woman took her head out of the car and wanted to say something, but I spat in her face and cursed a few times and hurried away. After a few minutes running, I sat on the closed-trap platform. I felt my heartbeat was so high. There was a hole in shop's iron door so that I could see inside. It was evident inside the shop, and there were various shoes which were behind the showcase. One day my father said that we could not buy a pair of these shoes even with 10 days' wage. I leaned my head against the door and stretched my legs. My wrist was still in pain. My heart was pounding. I remembered that I had not eaten yet. I told myself that I should sleep hungry tonight as well. I wish my father had left me something to eat. Suddenly, I remembered that tonight my camel would come and ride me. I jumped from there and walked fast. The toy store was closed, but I could hear the sounds of dolls from behind an iron door. The freight train was rattling and whistling. The big black bears seemed to be sitting behind the machine gun, shooting bullets and scaring the beautiful dolls. The monkeys jumped from corner to corner and sometimes hung from the camel's tail. The camel grunted and murmured. The long-eared donkey ground its teeth and gnawed, took baby bears and others and gave them a ride. The camel was listening intently to the ticking of the clock, as if he had promised someone. Airplanes and helicopters roamed the air. Turtles snoozed. Female dogs nursed their babies. The cat snatches an egg from under the basket. The rabbits looked at the hunter in the opposite shelf in surprise. The black monkey rubbed my harmonica, which was always behind the showcase, on its thick lips, making beautiful noises. Buses and vehicles were carrying dolls and patrolling. Tanks, rifles, pistols, and machine guns were firing rapidly. The young white rabbits chewed the big carrots while they were laughing. The most important thing was my camel, which would ruin everything if it wanted to make a move. It was so big that it could no longer fit behind the glass, and it stood on the sidewalk all day watching the people. Now it was standing in the middle of the shop, and it shook its head to make sounds with its bell, chewing turpentine, listening to the ticking of the clock. A row of white-haired baby camels shouted from the shelf, "Grandma, if you go to the street, we will come with you, all right?" I wanted to say a few words to the camel, but no matter how much I shouted, it did not hear my voice. So I knocked on the door a few times to silence the others. But at the same time, someone hit me in the head and said, "Are you crazy? Go to your home, kid." And there was no place to stand. I got rid of the police officer and ran away not to be late any longer. When I reached my father, all the streets were quiet and secluded. Taxis passed by one, far away from each other. My father was sleeping in his cart, so if I wanted to sleep in the cart too, I had to wake him up. Apart from our cart, there were other carts beside the wall, and people were sleeping in them. Some people were sleeping on the ground next to the wall, too. It was a crossroad, and one of our fellow citizens was here selling ice. I could sleep on my feet. I fell at the wheel of our cart, and then I fell asleep. Ding, ding, ding. "Hey, Latif, where are you? Latif, why don't you answer? Why don't you come? Dear Latif, do you hear my voice?" As soon as the camel reached under the porch, I had already woken up. Then I jumped on its back and happily told him, "I am here, buddy. Why are you shouting?" The camel was happy to see me and put some turpentine in its mouth and gave me some, and we walked. We were walking a little when the camel said, "I brought your harmonica. Take it and play a song." I took my beautiful harmonica from the camel and started blowing hard on it. and the camel shook its head and made loud ding, ding, ding with its bell. The camel turned its head towards me and said, "Latif, you had dinner?" I said no, I had no money. The camel said, "Then let's go and have dinner first." At the same time, the white rabbit jumped from the top of a tree and said, "Dear camel, we will have dinner at the villa tonight. I am going to inform others. You go yourself." The rabbit threw the carrot chewed for so far into the water, and he started to jump and got away from us. The camel said, "Do you know what the villa means?" I said, "I think it meant the summer camp." The camel said, "No. Millionaires build luxurious places and houses for themselves in pleasant climates, where they can relax and have fun whenever they want. These houses are called villas. Of course, villas also have swimming pools, fountains, gardens, and extensive flower-filled gardens. There are also gardeners, cooks, servants, and maids. Some millionaires also have a few villas abroad, such as Switzerland and France." Camel said, "We are going to one of the villas in the north of Tehran to get rid of the summer heat." He said this as if it had a wing, and he started to fly. I could see charming houses. There was no smoke in the air, and it was clear. So one moment I thought I was watching a movie. Finally, I told the camel, "Did we leave Tehran?" The camel said, "How did you come up with this idea?" I said, "There is no foul smell, smoke, or dirt in here. The houses are so clear and beautiful, like bouquets." The camel laughed and said, "You are right, dear Latif. Tehran has two parts, and each part is something different for itself, south and north. The south is full of smoke, dirt, and dust, but the north is clean, because all the scrap buses work in the south. There are brick kilns in the south. All diesel and trucks come from the south. Many of the alleys and the streets of the south are dirty. Dirty and rotten water flows from the north to the south. South is the neighborhood of the poor and the hungry, and the north is the nobility and the wealthy community. Have you seen all those towers in Naziabad and Hasirabad? These are tall buildings with lordly shops below them. Their customers have luxury rides and dogs worth several thousand tomans. I said that such things are not in the south. No one rides there, but many have trolleys and sleep in the slums. I was so hungry that I felt my stomach was piercing. There was a big garden under our feet, colorful, calm, refreshing, full of flowers and large trees. A big house was in the middle like a bouquet. A few meters over there was a pool with clear water and lots of goldfishes, and there was a dinner table with chairs and flowers and blooms. There was a pile of colorful food on the table, the smell of which made you drunk. The camel said, "Let's go down for dinner." I said, "Where is the owner of the garden?" The camel said, "Do not think of him. He is lying in the basement with his hands tied." The camel sat by the pool, and I came down.